Well, as Maine continues to deal with a housing crisis, there are some developments in the works to try and tackle the problem.
Here joining us this morning are Troy Wilkins from Benchmark Real Estate and Bobby Miller from Asset Development. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, could we first talk about the project that we were just discussing that you have underway and what that entails?
Yeah, so it's an exciting project coming up in central Maine. It's in Sydney. We just finished up a project in Farmingdale, actually a condominium project, and went through the planning board process for our single-family homes in Sydney. We closed the acquisition in the month of September, and we're going through the red tape, if you will, to get that off the ground, and we'll have our phase one to market in the middle of September.
And this is so crazy. We were just talking about this during commercial break, that on our website, it's always one of the top three stories that people watch is affordable housing. And you can attest to that it's something everyone is interested, everyone needs, everybody wants.
Yeah, I mean, the demographics across the state, we all know someone or have been in a circumstance where housing is important, and certainly with kind of the aging population, as people kind of start retiring, the affordable housing situation comes into play with their with their retirements and what they can and can't afford. And we're certainly starting to see a lot of that around southern Maine with the in-migration of folks moving from different parts of the country that want this Portland or southern Maine lifestyle and quality of life.
Yeah, southern Maine is very difficult, and it makes sense to kind of build outside of that. How do you decide where you want to develop?
Yeah, so we look at the demographics in each town we play in as far as creating projects, and I've been in developing for like the last 25 years, and when you look at like Troy is saying, the migration of coming to Portland, that same lifestyle and living also applicable in the state of in central Maine as well. So we look at the aging in place population, the first-time home buyer population, the transient moving from out of state into state. The governor has an interesting stat just released a few months ago for 84,000 homes needed in the next 10 years, 34,000 now. So there's quite a demand put upon the developers and brokers and the lending institutions to bring that to market.
Now, Troy, you've been working in this industry for a long time, and it's crazy when you look at how much houses are going for. And I mean, I look at what I bought my house for back during COVID and what it's worth now, and it's mind-boggling that it's like, oh my God, who can afford houses like this anymore?
Right. So what we're dealing with, certainly in southern Maine, is it's a unique situation because a lot of our population is older, but they're being able to stay in their homes, okay? And the younger population is financially doing better through our economy, or they're able to work remotely. So essentially what happens is clients can be 75 or 30 and competing for the same home or condo. So it kind of squishes that market as compared to before. We didn't really have the younger professionals wanting to be living in southern Maine. They kind of went to college and they moved away to the big cities. Well, now they're coming back working remotely or assisting with mom and dad's business. And then with the aging population being healthier, living longer, they're staying in their homes, or they want to get back into the Portland or the active lifestyle. And so once again, it just kind of squishes that market and makes it real tight, and that's what we're seeing. And
Bobby, what are you seeing as far as the response to these new developments? I mean, in some cases I've heard, they're selling before they're even done being made.
Yeah, certainly demand is there and the calls come in, but to Troy's point as well, that the price point to get into that market does become the conundrum, and it becomes a crossroads for a lot of different buyers, the first-time home buyer, the aging in place buyer, the retirement buyer, and the transient buyer. So when you start looking at the competitive side of the business, it does make it a challenge to help each of them individual categories of buyers to get into the homes prospectively and where they want to live and the price point which they can afford.
How can we fix this problem, and are we in the process of doing it right now?
That's a great question, and this is where kind of some controversy or opinions come into play. I joined the business in 2008, and in October of 2008 we had the major housing recession. Yep. So there was homes everywhere. We didn't have this issue. People were too scared to buy. Like, when was the prices going to stop dropping, and where was the bottom? We're now kind of seeing the situation of prices have gone up and up and up and up. Like, when are they going to cap? When's it going to be more affordable? That's a very tough question, Jeff, and I know there's a lot of opinions out there. I just strictly believe in a cycle. Sometimes there's a lot of homes out there, and sometimes there's not. What we are seeing, though, for doing this every day, it feels like almost 8 days a week that we live this when you're a professional. We are starting to see more inventory come onto the market. We are starting to see some prices decrease. Now, is it enough that everyone who wants a home or everyone that can afford a home can get in right now? It's certainly not. And these are the situations that I know that our community and things like this are trying to address.
And what do you think, Bobby? Do you feel like you're part of the solution here?
We do. I mean, and again, to Troy's point, this is not a one-day situation where it just happened overnight. I got on the market in 2020. I'm sorry, 2000, in year 2000, and that was just shortly right before 9/11. And after 9/11, we had a lot of people from out of state that just wanted to get out of the New York market, and they came to Maine. There was a big influx of developing happening in the first early years of 2000 through 2005. And then to Jeff's point, we had that downswing in 08, and then we had when it came back, there was so much inventory in the bank's drawers on foreclosed homes that they almost shut the new construction market off. So a lot of developers had to get interesting in 2010 and bring back to market and offer a no construction loan needed program to the buyers that were already approved conventionally to buy houses, but the banks wouldn't let them lend on construction finance. So we had to go to market with a higher risk product, develop a product they can come into and purchase with their conventional financing and bring back the construction market. And I think that was part of the tear in the fabric. When you slowed down the construction market, call it 10, 15 years ago, we're feeling that today. We couldn't keep pace with the demand. Inventory needed to be put out ahead of the market itself before it showed up. Kind of the not laying the tracks before the train before the train shows up syndrome. So
Yeah.
And we're feeling that today.
Hit it right on the head. It goes in cycles. It goes in
Yeah.
cycles.
It does.
Well, thank you both so much for sharing your insight and expertise with us this morning. We appreciate it.